In this video, we drove all the way to Colorado to where the pavement literally ends to go help the Lazy A-Hole Ranch put together their cabin frame. By the time we got there, they had already finished their foundation and subfloor, so there was something to put a frame on, of course. Check out their channel for more details on how they got this far already. So we are here at the Lazy A-Hole Ranch. We're about to put a kit up, so it's kind of a symbiotic thing today. We're helping assemble their kit, and we get to learn how, and they get the free labor, so everybody win-win. And of course, Mick and Danny are here helping by not helping at all, because that's what they do. Our first step was to attach the footer to one side, and to do this we used some lag bolts for the chains that go into the floor to help keep everything situated and anchored. Please make sure you get longer lags. These were not long enough, and they did come out and cause some issues later on, which you will see. Next, we set up the ridge piece, and we put on some kick plates to keep it from sliding out away from us as we push the ribs in. This turned out to be such a good idea. I wish we had done it on the other side. You'll see why later. And it's definitely something we plan to do when we build our own kit later on. The first few ribs were kind of a learning curve for us as we figured out the right angles and counterpoints and whatnot. Once we got that all locked in, everything went really smoothly, and it was very easy once you understood the angles for one person to just sort of lift it and the other person to push it right into place.
You're lifting and pulling.
I need to lift it?
Yeah, there you go. Just like that. There you go.
Woo. So
Yeah.
easy for ladies to do it.
At this point, it was time to begin securing things. Our cabin recommends a zipper approach where you do the base of one rib and the top of another rib and the base of the next and the top of the other. The guys felt it was easier to just go through and go ahead and secure everything. With the kick plate in place, everything was nice and snug and pressure fitted together, so they didn't see much need to do the zipper approach. I cannot stress enough how important it is to get good screws for this step. We had a lot of issues with the first brand of screws that they had purchased, and Allie ran to the store, got some other screws, and things went way better after that. The guys had a much easier time. Also, make sure you got a nice, good, fresh drill bit, because you're going to be chewing through them. When it came time to do the hoisting, we all sort of knew that we needed to get above that sort of critical pivot point. None of us truly expected to be able to do it with just the truck, but we gave it a try. We did in fact fail. At this point, Mike went and got the backhoe and used that to lift one side of to lift the ridge piece high enough that we got over that kind of critical angle. And then he used the winch on his truck to get it the rest of the way up. And then once you get it to the apex, you drive in the other two ribs to support the whole piece, while you then kind of fill in all the gaps in between. And here's where you can see our side popped off of the subfloor. That's because the lags that were attached to those chains gave out. Like I said, make sure you get good long lags and they're anchored into something nice and tight, or you're probably going to have this problem, especially if you're not over that fulcrum to get the pivot point right. Once we had it up and out of the way, it was time to add the footer. Disconnect the backhoe. And hoisted the rest of the way with the winch on the truck. And now we put in the first 2 ribs on the far side to support the whole structure. And here's where you can see us fixing the mistake we had with the side sliding off. So they just jacked it up with some wood and then anchored it in properly.
It is tall. Ours is gonna be that tall too. That's you got a whole second floor over your head.
Got it?
The ribs on the far side were a little trickier to get the hang of, but we did come up with sort of a system. Basically, someone would go up the ladder and attach the top piece, get that fitted into place, and then I would rest the bottom piece on the bottom foot plate, and I would call out rested. At that point, Greg would come down and help situate the bottom part of the piece, which meant he would kind of lift up and in.
Got my foot on the kick plate because we learned that the hard way. Counterpoint, arms pulling in.
And I would guide it over the foot plate mount for it until it was properly situated in place. The next step after this was simply to secure all of the ribs on the far side, and Greg was kind enough to be the hero who went up the ladder and did that for everybody. Bob the Builder was his spot, securing the rope that Greg was harnessed to, and he just went on down the line, moving the ladder each time. Also put down a kick plate to keep the ladder from sliding out, but it was wedged in there pretty well. They did a really good job with keeping an eye on safety so we didn't have to have any accidents that day.
Hi.
You realize I'm gonna spend half this video reaching for my junk, grabbing screws out, right?
You realize I'm not staying under here the whole time. I spent enough of my life underneath you.
Words that hurt like a fist. Yeah, I'm telling you, she's merciless. That's why I love her so much. It's never a dull moment. You gotta watch out.
No worries. I'll throw my legs up.
That is the end of the affair. God almighty, this is a hell of a view up here though. Y'all like this. Coming down, Bob.